Hey everybody, welcome to another Metaphysical Monday. I want to talk today about something that I'm calling the two U's, and I mean the letter U, but I also mean you and your other self. So let me explain. The first two U's are unity and unconditional, specifically unconditional love. So the reason I bring up you and the other version of you as well is because there's a finite you, which is in this physical body, and there's an infinite you, which is everything that isn't the physical body. It's your higher self, it's your mind, it's your emotions. Those things have no end. And so let my words hit you emotionally and not logically. Take them, if you can, from the infinite perspective that you are, and not from the finite physical perspective that you are. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into unity and unconditional, because we know from spiritual teachings, we've heard it across the board in indigenous cultures, in Christianity, in Islam, everywhere you look, all is one. So that truth is a huge truth, but hard to grasp because we live in a world, in a perspective that looks like all is separate. So in order to understand that all is one, it takes a little bit of a letting go of the finite logical brain and an embracing of the infinite higher conceptual realms. So that's where we're going today. It's important to understand that we contain all of the same aspects we see in the world. This goes back to what I was talking about 2 Mondays ago with reality being a mirror. When you bring them in, you can let them uncock your hair trigger so that you're no longer triggered, but instead can be the most powerful version of yourself who can love without condition. When a person is triggered, it's the same as being powerless or being disempowered. So to embrace the idea that all is one, to embrace the idea that separation is an illusion, takes some of the limits off of your power. Questions, and one of the ways that you can really tune in to the idea that all is one is to replace judgment with unconditional love. When you replace judgment with unconditional love, you are bringing about unity. So by replacing judgment, that's the key here. If you replace judgment, you bring both of the two U's, unconditional love and unity, into your world, and you release yourself from the illusion of separation. Okay, well, that's easier said than done, Brian. How do I replace judgment? I judge things all the time, and you know, it's important to have good judgment and yada yada yada. So telling me to replace judgment doesn't do me any good. Well, here's some tips for how. There are some questions you can ask yourself that help you to replace judgment with unity. One is when I'm specifically talking about when you come up against a pain point in your own life. One, you can ask, how can I integrate this? So right now there's all this controversy on Netflix about the movie Cuties, which is, you know, way too overly sexualized of young kids and all that stuff. And so say to yourself, how can I integrate this? What is this showing me about me? How can I love more? It doesn't mean don't cancel Netflix. If you want to, go ahead. But it means looking at the things in the outside world that aggravate you and saying, rather than let the thing tell me how to feel, I'm going to practice feeling unconditional love and then use that love and power to affect the thing that I don't prefer. So how can I integrate this, and how can I love more? Asking why, for example, why did Netflix do that, or why is the world accepting that, or whatever, is a mind trap, because when you ask why, it gives your mind a puzzle to try to solve. And when you give your mind a puzzle to try to solve, it ultimately becomes a distraction and keeps you from sinking back down from your brain and your mind into your heart, which is where all of your power is. So instead of asking why something's happening, leave that to the detectives. Instead of asking why something's happening, ask, how can I make a difference? Or do I want to make a difference? Because it's only your job to make a difference if that's something that you want to do. Asking the why it's not that you can't ask why, but only be asking why if asking why is your burning passion, because it is so important to follow your passions. So unless that's the passionate thing is for you to understand the whys and the ins and outs of a situation, then don't get trapped in why, okay? Unless that's your passion. Instead, you can always be choosing, and the thing that you can be choosing is your own inner states of being. It takes practice. It takes practice to do this. We can practice love until love becomes the reflex instead of judgment. It can be a situation in life where things occur that you don't prefer or that would normally have thrown you off your rocker, and instead of them throwing you off your rocker, your knee-jerk reaction to them is, oh, I want to open my heart and give love to that. Oh, I want to open my heart and give love to that. For me, on a small scale, I'm going through this thing right now. I've been going through a lot of transformations, but I have this hair trigger in me about people that drive in what I consider to be a very incompetent way on the road. And it's because I want to go fast. I want to accelerate, because I'm accelerating in my mind, I'm accelerating in my growth, I'm accelerating in my heart, and I have a lot of learning to do and a lot of books to read and a lot of online courses to consume. And so I don't want to be stuck behind someone driving slow because they're trying to be safe or whatever. Like, that's my thing. And so what's been happening to me as a result, because reality is a mirror, is that people are constantly cutting me off the last week and a half, constantly. Either cutting me off or getting in front of me and then going really slow, or coming out into traffic when it isn't their turn and then not knowing where they're going to go next. And for the first 10 days of this, it was my hair trigger. I would, like, in the car by myself, I would be screaming at the person. And I don't have road rage generally. I used to say I have road cranky, but lately, that road rage has come up to show me a place where I can, instead of getting all wrapped up in how it's affecting me, I can say, what do I want to choose here? How do I want to be? And the traffic is just a microcosm, but I don't want to be the type of person that is easily set off by anything. And so the traffic is showing me where my internal things are that I can work on and where I can grow. And that can be the same for you guys. If you're, whatever you're being triggered by, whether it's cuties or whether it's anything else in the world, it's there for you to teach you to practice how to be loving. So asking yourself those questions: how can I love more? How can I integrate this? Why is the universe showing this to me? Are more important than why is it happening or why did they do that. Those whys are a distraction. So that being said, I want to give you guys a set of steps that can help you integrate and unify these energies inside of you, these energies that you feel, these negative states, the angry states, powerless states, victimless states, whatever they are. First thing you need to know is that authenticity and honesty equals non-resistance. So it starts by being super open with where you are in your life. The breath will anchor the heart energy into your body and drop your attention into the present moment. I have notes over there, so that's why I keep looking that way. And so it is cliche to say this, but by taking a deep breath, you are creating that space for yourself to feel what you truly feel. Sometimes taking those deep breaths makes you feel worse at first because you're allowing into the present moment all the crap you were trying to hold at bay until you decided to stop and take a breath. But that's okay. So the steps to purify are following. Step 1 is you got to be honest about your current situation. Super duper honest. Don't try to resist whatever you're feeling. If you're super angry at something in the state of the world, then be that. Just be that. It's okay. It's okay. And then when you're in it, when you're in the present moment and feeling whatever crap BS you're feeling, step 2 is to witness it. If you can manage to just like pop away from what you're feeling and what you're thinking and witness it. I don't mean shove it out of your experience. I mean, let it be fully in your experience, and then you, from a higher place, witness what you're experiencing. That higher level of witnessing of the thoughts and feelings, it's a not higher in the sense of better. It's just like thinking of it as a broader perspective, like when you're down in something or when you're an eagle looking at it. And that higher perspective of consciousness can help you then go into step 3, which is to identify the story that you're believing. When you're in the story back at step 1 and you're angry and you're sad, it's very hard to understand what is going on for you. But when you move into step 2, take some breaths and allow yourself to witness it, to observe the thoughts in your brain and observe the feelings in your heart and body, you can start to identify the story that you're believing, the story that you're engaged with, the mind drama that you have going on. Once you are clear on what that mind drama is, and you don't have to be fully clear on a story from beginning, middle to end, you just have to kind of understand where you're at and why you're there. And once you understand that, you can convert, this is step 4, you can convert that story into energy. And here's how you do that. You have to detach from the words that you've just brought into your awareness. So step 3 is to bring the words into your awareness, and then step 4 is to detach from those words that are racing through your brain and that you're using to judge the situation that's causing you anger. From your logical understanding, just detach from the logical understanding and go right to the charge. Go right to the emotions you feel. That's what step 4 is. In order to convert the story into energy, you need to forget about the actual plot of the story and go right to how the effect the story is having on you. So think of it this way: when you watch a scary movie, the effect is that it scares you, and so you're dealing with the fear. It doesn't actually matter anymore about the plot. What matters is that you're in a state of fear. That's the same thing here. If you're in whatever state you're in, that's the thing. That emotional body is what you can convert into energy, and the first way to do that is to let go of the words. So this is where it gets a little bit metaphysical, but once you practice this, you will see that it's true. As I say it to you, it might not ring true for you, but when you go and do it after you stop this video, it will ring true for you, I promise. So please do this. Step 5 is to bring the energy into your heart and love and accept that part of yourself that created this story and everything that's in it. It doesn't mean that you created the state of the world, but the story that you're telling about the world is all from you. So you've created this story. So the way to bring that energy in is to close your eyes. Once you've fully identified the charge, whatever that emotional charge is, and you've separated it from the words, hold out your hands and allow yourself to think of that charge and to feel that charge and to see that charge as a ball of energy in your hands, okay? It's just a ball of energy. Bring that ball of energy, that negative, victim-y, disempowering energy, accept that part of yourself that created it by putting it into your heart. And I mean physically. You close your eyes and you envision this, and then you go like this and you put it into your heart. That is an indication that you are surrendering to your higher self. And you're surrendering to your higher self because your higher self is the part of you that knows how to uncreate this. It knows how to rewrite this. When you have surrendered in that way, by just taking space to allow yourself to observe, see, and hold your energy. We talk about being a space holder for other people, but what about being a space holder for yourself? That's what we're talking about here. So you put this energy back inside of you, this energy that you didn't want, that you wanted to separate from, and instead you integrate it and you surrender it to it. And when you do that, that's when you can transform it. That's when you can transfer that energy from the way back at step 1, when you had just the feelings and just the anger, and then you went through step 2 and you witnessed it, and then you identified the story, and then you took the story away and converted that charge into energy, and then you put that energy back in your body and surrender to it. You can then transfer and transform that energy from a place of power into a new story and to a new direction that you do prefer to go in. Because what happens when you do this process is that you're letting go of polarity. You're letting go of judgment, and you're letting go of resistance. And when you do all of that, you put yourself into a state of power. From that state of power is when you can do what we were talking about at the very beginning of this video, and practicing unconditional love. It's very hard to practice unconditional love when you're fully distracted by the emotional charge that you've given to an external situation, or by the mental story that you've given to an external situation. And make no mistake, you are giving those things to the external situation. So this is a process by which you can take your power back from the external, bring it internal, and then you get to decide how you're going to respond instead of just being a victim of your reactions. Okay? that's the process. Have fun with that today. Try it out. And if you do try it out, please comment it below and let me know how it goes. I would love to engage with you guys on this. Much love. Happy Metaphysical Monday.